What up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and we are here today, you guys, with I guess we would say this is going to be a political edition of They Cutting the Fool. So before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, and also by turning on your post notifications, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let's go ahead and just talk about all of the foolishness that we have ensued over the last few weeks, shall we? All right, you guys. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is I hadn't wanted to talk about this, but we got to talk about it. And it's because it's something that I needed to talk about. I just didn't know when to talk. Well, not, I knew when to talk about it. It should have been last week, but you guys remember, birthday was last week. So I took, off and I went down to Miami. But the weekend going into my birthday, there was the attempted, pow, 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 pow on you know who, right? And when I saw it, initially I was like, this can't be real, right? Because you see him and then he went down. There were so many things. What I will say is I don't wish, as much as I can't stand the man, I don't wish any ill will towards him. I don't wish it, I don't wish DEATH. I don't wish that on him. I don't wish any of that stuff on him, right? What I do wish on him is jail time, right? And we do know that the documents case that case has been dismissed. You guys know the Supreme Court had ruled that if he was acting within his scope of employment, which technically, in the act of being a president, the immunity, like it's so much stuff when you think about him, and you just sit and think like he gets away with everything, and it's mind blowing and it's crazy to me, right? But we get to that. Was it Saturday? I believe I saw it, and I was like, again, I was sitting there thinking to myself, like, is this real? Because it just didn't. Nothing seemed real with that, right? Then when you see him go down, and the Secret Service, they went on the stage and they surrounded him. Then you see him. He comes up and he goes, and I was like, what's going on here? Because they said that the sole gunman was taken out by Secret Service, right? But then the thing is that place, the side where he was at, I don't think that they had really secured that, because how did he get up there? And they were saying that people were telling them like, there's someone up there, but nothing happened, right? But my problem within that was the fact that when he went down and he came back up, that he they didn't cover him. They did not cover the man, and it just seems so weird to me. Then the crowd, no one had a sense of urgency, because I know for me, and anybody that I know, the minute you hear gunshots, niggas is ducking, dodging, and running. Cause I in my 20s, when I was going to, when I used to go to the clubs and stuff, my early 20s, let me say that, my early 20s, cause when I in my early 20s, when I used to go to the clubs and you would hear, boom, 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 you don't know where it's coming from and you don't know where it's at, so you take off running. And it was so many, the people just sitting there, you just see them recording with their phones, and I'm like, that's so weird to me that you guys are recording with your phones. But I was confused by the whole situation, right? Really, really, really confused by it, and it didn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But he's okay. Then we get to the Republican National Convention, and he announced his running mate, J.D. Vance, which I think is a liar, a hypocrite, because he was a never Trumper, right? He criticized the man. He had so many things to say about the man, but now he's kissing his behind. He's repeating the same rhetoric that orange fool is saying, right? So now he's going along with the line, and I just it's scary to me, right? That he's on that ticket with the that buffoon, that moron. Those things scare me to no avail. And then on top of that, you have with the Republican National Convention, people, it's a cult, you guys. I don't know any nicer way to say that whole situation is just a cult if I've never saw a cult in my life. Because you saw who when he was on the stage, and he had this, whatever it was, this piece of gauze, maxi pad, whatever you want to call it. When he had it on his ear, then the next days of the Republican convention, you see these fools with it on their ear. And I was like, oh my God, like something is seriously wrong with these people that they're doing this. Like it was everybody in the audience. And I was like, and people, they don't want to say that it's a cult, but baby, if it quacks like a duck and if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, then damn it, it's a damn duck, right? So we got that. And then, he was supposed to get up and he was supposed to have a unified speech. And let's just be real. There is nothing unifying about that man. That man is divisive as hell. But after that whole assassination attempt, they wanted to now redo it, his speech, and make it about unifying the country. And again, like I said, there's no unification with that man. I don't think he even knows what the term unified means. Like I honestly don't. Then you had ignorant fools like what's her name? Amber Rose. That dumb dunce. You had that heifer on the stage. These are my people, and I said he was racist, and my dad said prove it. Girl, shut the fuck up. And it's so interesting, I remember watching College Hill last season, and when Jocelyn sat there and told her you wanted to be with the white people, I did defend her, but I also understood where Jocelyn was coming from, because when you think about Amber has been in black spaces, but she, I feel like I always did feel like Amber, if it suited her to align herself with whiteness, she would do it. And lo and behold, she's done it with this man, and she looks like she looks like an ass clown, if I'm being honest. Amber Rose looks like an ass clown. So I don't understand it. Like seeing her on that stage, these are my people. Well, girl, if them your people, once they are done with you and once they chew you up and spit you out, I hope they're paying you a damn good penny, because once they chew you up and spit you out, please don't bring your raggedy ass back over to the black community, because I can speak for me personally. I don't know about the rest of y'all, but I can damn sure speak for me. Don't come back to the black community. The slut walks, don't nobody care. Nobody cares. Like, I won't support anything Amber Rose going forward. Like, I think she is an idiot, and I think she's a moron. Two other people who I think are idiots and morons, Byron Donalds and Senator Tim Scott, right? Like, you two fools did all that shucking and jiving for who, for him to go and pick J.D. Vance. I just love Trump. Remember Tim Scott saying, I just love you. Looking like a guy. Oh, I wonder if Tim Scott is still getting married to that woman, because y'all know he's quote unquote engaged to a woman. But bullshit. But Byron Donalds and Tim Scott, especially Byron Donalds, you were really, just as Tim Scott was kissing his ass, but you were really kissing ass too, my nigga. You was really kissing that orange bastard's ass. Because I watch Meet the Press on Sunday mornings on NBC. So Kristen Welker is the host of Meet the Press, but previously it was Chuck Todd, right? So Kristen and Chuck would have some of them on there, and Byron Donalds has been on there quite a few times, and Joe Biden is letting migrants come into this country. Joe Biden is doing this. They always say what Biden. And then when they're asked the question of if they will certify, if they will, the 2024 election, if we get to the end, to November 5th, and it was announced that President Biden would be returning for a second term, would they then, would they certify the election, right? Would they be okay with the outcome of the election? They keep repeating the same stupid rhetoric. Well, if it's a fair and free election, sure. If it's a fair and free election, sure. If it's a fair and free election. Let me repeat this for anybody who does not know about 2020. 2020 was 100% a fair and free election. Joe Biden was elected the president. There was no steal because fat ass could never prove it in the courts that the election was stolen. So if you didn't have any proof, then it is BULLSHIT. The election wasn't stolen by anybody. And the fraud that y'all want to talk about, there was a case of fraud, and it absolutely was. But the case of fraud in the 2020 election was a Republican. This man, and I remember it because I saw it in the news. I read it in the news, and I saw it on the news, and I read it in some of the news articles that I was searching. Right, there was one case of voter fraud. It was a Republican man who was trying to vote for who using his deceased mother's identity, and they found it. They stopped it. So that was the only one case of voter fraud in the 2020 election. So I want them to stop with that BS rhetoric. So we keep on moving, you guys. So we're done with the Republicans because they're idiots. They are contradictory. So now we get to yesterday, which was Sunday. And I was scrolling through Twitter and I saw one of my mutuals say that Joe Biden had dropped out of the election. And you guys know that since the debate, the talking points have been, and let me say this, I blame the media and I blame some of the Democrats as well for this. You guys have been, especially the media, the Times, CNN. You expect it from Fox News, but you don't expect it from like your CNNs and things of that nature. But everybody has been talking about, they don't think that Joe Biden is mentally fit to run for a second term. But then you got this other bastard who at the Republican National Convention, there are videos of him. He was falling asleep. So yes, Joe Biden is 80, 81 years old. He's an old man. What the hell do you guys expect from him? But you got another old man on the side of him. So it was a battle of two old men. It's a battle of two old men, and it's a battle of good, the good versus evil, I would say, right? Or just, it's a lesser of two evils also, right? But that's been the talking point. His age, can he do it? Because once he leaves office, if he were reelected for another term. But here's the thing: it was well known that Joe Biden was an old man when he ran in 2020. It's not like he got any younger over the last 4 years. He's gotten older, but so has Agent Orange. That man has gotten older too. That man is delusional. That man is old. That man is senile. That man is crazy. That man is a pathological liar. That man is a convicted felon. Like, the list of things can go on about that man, but no, and the media is not talking about that. They don't talk about that, but they harped on Joe Biden's age up to the point where people were putting out op-eds, right? George Clooney. People were, you have people in the Republican Party saying that he needs to step down because they are fearful that once we get to November, that would hurt them going down straight ticket, right? Which actually you can't vote straight. You can't. I know here we can't vote in Texas. We can't vote straight ticket anymore. You have to literally go line, you go person by person by person to vote, right? But that's neither here nor there. Also, so yeah, yesterday, which speaking right now, there's a special news report. There's a special news report on right now where it says VP Harris makes first public remarks after President Biden drops out of the 2024 race. So we'll talk about that later this week, I guess. But yesterday, Joe Biden he announced that he was dropping out of the 2024 election, and when I saw that, it just my heart sank because it's terrifying. You guys, I have to be honest with you guys. This terrifies the hell out of me as a black man. It scares me because I feel like with Joe Biden, here's the thing I will be honest about, right? I was nervous about Joe running for re-election after that debate, but I wasn't worried in the sense that I wasn't gonna vote for him because he always had my vote. I tweeted this, I said this on social media so many times that Joe Biden could be in hospice. He could be on a feeding tube. He could be on anything. He would always have gotten my vote. But I know that there are probably other people out there that probably wouldn't have voted for him. So that was my fear. My fear was that we would get to November and we would get to election day and we would get the results and Orange Man would be president again, and that is terrifying for me, right? It's terrifying for me because the man wants to be a dictator. It's terrifying for me because you have Project 2025, you guys, or you guys. So you have that. You have so many things that just terrifies the hell out of me. You have this Supreme Court, and there have been some Supreme Court justices who have said that they will only retire under a Republican president. And if they retire under him, then we still have the same thing. All he would have to do is put in more, who loyalists, and that can disrupt this country, you guys, in so many ways. And it just scares me. So yesterday I was terrified. I was like, okay, this is scary because now Joe Biden has dropped out. And the question then became who becomes the Democratic nominee. And I did see that he has endorsed Kamala Harris, and I did see that she's raised over $50 million in donations. And that's another thing for the donors. You guys only care about the money, not the people. But I'm not surprised. That doesn't surprise me. That does not surprise me because that's Congress. That's politics. Politics is all about money. Who can raise the most money? But it scares me. But they say she, right now it is looking like she may be, Vice President Kamala Harris will be the presumptive Democratic nominee. Now they're talking about who could be her running mate. I did see people say Pete Buttigieg. I'm gonna be honest with you guys, that is not gonna be a good one because you have two minorities that would be running. Pete Buttigieg is a gay man, and he is married to him. He is married to a man, right? Kamala Harris. You can say whatever you want to say. She ain't a black woman. She's a woman. She's a person of color. She's a person of color, and she's a woman. So I don't think that those two things would help on the ballot. I really don't, and I really worry when it comes to suburban white women who typically votes with their husbands, which I don't understand that because you're voting against your own best interest when it comes to that. Voting for that orange man and anybody over there is against your own interest. And I hate to say this is the same for, us when we vote against our own interests. Like you have people like these celebrities that don't nobody give a damn about. Amber Rose, Waka Flocka, the list goes on, where they are endorsing Orange Man, and it's like you're endorsing him because of the almighty dollar and the tax breaks that he will give the rich, but not the poor. He cares nothing about the poor. He cares all about the rich, right? Then you have I lost my talking point, but you just have people who voting against their own best interest, right? You have I'm talking about everybody. that's a minority. You have Asian, you have Hispanic, you have black people who are aligning with Agent Orange. And I don't understand it. He doesn't care about he is talking about doing immigration. He's talking about immigration, right? But I don't think that, with him and immigration, I think it's just literally just talking points. I don't think he believes any of the shit that he says out of his mouth. I think it's just a crock of bullshit. I think he is BS, right? But that's neither here nor there. My thing, but yeah, you guys, it's just I was, like I said, I was afraid yesterday, but I woke up this morning and I thought about it. The Democrats would be also, Senator Joe Manchin, sit down somewhere. Nobody wants you. Nobody wants you. We don't want you. Just like you and Kristen Sinema are two Democrats that we don't give a hot fucking damn about. Sit down, Joe Manchin. Sit your ass down somewhere, right? But, I woke up, like I said, I woke up this morning and the anxiety that I had yesterday, it has subsided, right? It really has subsided. I don't feel as anxious as I did yesterday, but I'm still I feel good in a sense because when it comes to who and his campaign, they were prepared to they were prepared to go against Joe Biden, and what they were going to use, and I think their biggest thing that they were going to use against Joe was his age, and and just talk about how he is has dementia and things of that nature, which no one knows that because his doctor hasn't said anything about that. Speaking of doctor, whose doctor that quote on when he got shot, quote unquote, they ain't said nothing about him. He like, and that's the thing with him. He is so freaking secretive about everything. But you know what? I'm not even gonna keep going on about him because let me say this real quick. I'm not telling anybody how to vote when it comes down to this election, right? All I will say is vote like I always go. I'm gonna go off of what Whoopi says on The View every time we talk about politics. Vote for the country that you want. If you want to live in a country with under his regime where he tells, his reign, where he tells you what to do and how to do things, vote for that. Or you can vote over here with the Democrats and hopefully they go with Vice President Kamala Harris. Vote for what you want. I know for me, no matter who the Democratic candidate is, I'm voting Democrat. It just is what it is, right? Because nothing with that man aligns with who I am as a person. It just doesn't. It really, truly does not. But yeah, you guys, that's really it. Like I said, yesterday I was nervous. I was anxious about the whole situation of him potentially becoming president again. But I'm not anymore. We just have to. We have what 3 months into the election. We have 3 months. Anything can happen. And also what I will say is, don't look at the polls because the polls are lies. I've said it plenty of times before. The polls are a BS, right? It's a bunch of BS. Because we don't, they don't poll me, they don't poll you. I know they don't poll you guys. So they're just, and also when it comes to polls, they are standing outside of, I don't know where they stand outside of, but they just stand in places and just ask people, who are you voting for in the election? You do know people can lie, right? People can say, oh, I'm voting for Joe Biden. Oh, I'm voting for who. They can say those things, right? And it doesn't necessarily have to be true. Let's go back to the 2016 election, right? 2016 election, the polls had Hillary Clinton winning the election. We all know she didn't win the election. Also in 2022, was it? When it was supposed to be a red wave and it was just a sprinkle of red. So yeah, don't listen to the polls. Only person who knows how you're gonna vote is you. So once you get to that polling booth, you cast your vote and that's it. These polls don't tell you how to vote, and I hope they don't. Don't let the polls tell you how to vote. Don't let the news outlets tell you how to vote. Don't let anything. If you know what issues matter to you, then go out there and vote for the candidate that best aligns with your interests. If it happens to be that other man, then it just happens to be him. But I hope you guys can, feel comfortable living in this country under a second term with that man. But for me, like I said, I am voting Democrat. Period. Like, I really truly am. And also, I want to say this real quick: the presidential election, it matters, right? It does, but it's not what you. Let me see how I want to say this: presidential election, it does matter, but in the grand scheme of things, it's small, right? You need to vote for your local, your governors, your judges, your judges, and all that kind of stuff, your congressmen. Like, I see so many people who keeps, there are people who don't know how politics works, right? Because somebody was in, it was either the Shade Room or Baller, one of those blogs last week, telling me that I don't know how politics work because they were blaming Joe Biden for inflation, gas, and sending money to foreign countries. And I was like, you obviously need to go back to school, because this person telling me that I don't need to vote in the elections if I don't know how politics works. And I'm like, nah, baby, that's you that don't know how politics works. Politics works when it comes down to funding things, inflation, gas. That is not the president. I want people to know that that's not the president. He doesn't control those things. In order for things to get passed, it has to go through the Senate and the House. Y'all do know that, right? People do know that things have to go through the Senate, and it has to go through the Senate and the House. Then it goes to the president's desk and he signs it. Yeah, I do know that, right? But hey, neither here nor there. Like, go back and watch Schoolhouse Rock, because that's how I learned a lot of things as a kid. Schoolhouse Rock. But yeah, you guys, that's really all I got. Let me know what you guys think. How are you guys feeling? What are you guys feeling currently? Leave it in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, and share the video, you guys. And I will see you guys later on today for The Real Housewives of New Jersey. So yeah, you guys, I'll see you guys later. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And that is all I got, you guys. I ain't got nothing else to talk about. If anything else comes up, we'll definitely discuss it. Like I said, I may come back this week and we may talk about VP Kamala Harris and her speech. We'll listen to it and we'll talk about it later. But that's it. Like I said again, see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.